Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy that I get to show you this content day to day and not weekly like I originally intended it to be. Because if it was weekly, and I told you guys here on PLS I bought the lows and sold right near the highs, you'd think I was full of shit. Complete fucking hindsight trading nonsense. And other trades like EOS, which we didn't really take that one, but the idea was there and we talked about it in depth. And these other trades that go 10, 15, 20% in just a matter of days, these trade ideas, I'm telling you in advance, or I'm explaining on the day that I buy them, and they're usually unremarkable days. I'm not buying anything that's like up 30%. I don't come on here and I go, oh, I bought at the low of the day, rode 30%. None of that. So I'm really happy that you guys got to see even something like PLS. Just this move from support to resistance, this like almost 20% play in just a number of days. You get to see the logic behind the lithium ETF, the resistance levels, stuff like the lithium spot price, and you can see how it's arcing down now. So I'm really grateful that this was not a weekly series because 100% everyone would think I'm full of shit. So SDR is a really good example. We bought this yesterday, and I told you guys, buying at this support level, perfect hit today, perfect dip down. And I said I would close it 100% if the stock closed inside the body of this candle here. So from 374, 375 or lower, that would definitely be just a cut because I wouldn't want to see a solid bar down. That would just not be great. Now, the other thing with SDR, of course, we added on to this dip a lot more. So as I said, I would size on as this dips because we got an entry just in case that $4 level held from yesterday, ignoring this wick is false data. Yeah, perfect. Comes down, hits support a few times, wasn't looking great, closed stronger relative for the day, mind you. So, it's fine. It all looks fine. And yeah, perfect. Hopefully this plays out. We can take a look at the software ETF because SDR, as I found out, is a software stock. It's not a great thing to trade lately because of the SaaS apocalypse. But here we are with IGV starting its recovery to the upside. And I'd really like to see this if this starts swinging up. So IGV and SDR have fairly similar, how do I put it? Patterns, I guess you could say. I think IGV heavily influences SDR. So I'll bring up SDR so you can see as a comparison. You can flick between the two. You can see the peaks and the troughs are very relevant for SDR and how it relates to IGV. Of course, SDR is sitting well lower than IGV does. IGV has already shot up, and I think SDR is catching up. It's not a profitable business last I checked, and it's roughly a billion and 1.2 billion market cap. So, it's probably got still a reasonably high PE ratio. And all high PE SaaS stocks got absolutely munted this year. So this is a shaky reversal. I would like to see, I haven't really planned out take profits for this one. And I say it a lot because it's all about risk management, right? Because if we buy the best possible bullish entry, right? Because this stock has now turned bullish. The short-term move and momentum is bullish upside. So my goal is to manage the risk, to buy the absolute best price while still maintaining bullish momentum. What I mean is, if this holds bullish momentum, we're buying the absolute best possible price for bullish momentum. If this suddenly starts tanking, right? If it starts, imagine this was a candle. I know. But imagine that was a candle, right? This is no longer bullish, right? So there's no point buying here if the stock dips to 360, 350. You might have something back here at 340, but I'm not gonna hang out for it. Because you know what happens if this does dip back down, starts recovering, we can wait for other signals, other setups to determine that it's going to be bullish and not be stuck in some sort of sideways range. So for me, cut. I want to cut as tight as possible in the best possible entry for a bullish momentum trade, right? Straightforward stuff, at least in my mind. You know, I cover it all in my course. I know, yeah, I'm flogging it. Go fuck yourself. If you don't want to watch it, don't. But, you know, you're going to learn everything that I've learned in the last, I think it's 11 years now of full-time trading. So if you want the end-to-end, I think it's about 3.5 hours from memory. It's a course that I think about 30 to 40 people have got so far. Nothing but raving reviews about it. And, you know, there are some people in Discord, if you want to get some, you know, feedback from people who've taken the course, they'll happily tell you. And yeah, so anyway, we got SDR here. Really looking forward to seeing this move to the upside tomorrow. What I'm willing to give it is one sideways day, and then if it doesn't start recovering, then it's going to be a cut for me. That is, I think that is the plan at the moment. Is I wouldn't want to see it linger for more than a day, and then it needs to rally or start showing signs of a rally. Otherwise, done. Also IPX, this is, you know, a fan favorite. I've talked about IPX so much because it just trades so well. So I'll talk you through it for those who haven't been watching the series or the daily videos. So quite simply this is an ADR. There are 10 shares per ADR, which means at $34.78, we divide that by 10, and then we go USD AUD for the conversion rate. It's currently at 1.415. You've got $4.92, and that should be the equivalent for IPX Australia. So so $4.92 was the. I'll just draw a pivot there at 492. So this was really fascinating. IPX has moved way more than I anticipated. I didn't see a news announcement this morning that would maybe have caused this. So because it's just trading off the US price action, to my understanding anyway, this collapse was huge. So from where it's meant to be fairly traded, it dropped 11% from the US equivalent. So people in Discord were pointing this out, and I've always got this stock just in the corner of my screen there because it's just a really fun trader, and it had a big move overnight. So as it was coming down, people were buying a little bit too soon. I thought 460 was good, and it actually did reload a few times at 460, and then it started coming off. And I decided once it broke range to the downside not to add on. I didn't want to front side this. So what I mean is I didn't want to keep adding as it was coming off and off and off, even though you guys probably know that this is sort of my play, is to find the best possible price for IPX when it drifts so far away from the US listing price. But, you know, one decent add-on, you know, if it keeps falling, I don't want to keep adding to something that's like, I don't know if I'm missing information. I don't know if something's happened. You know, maybe Bloomberg released some sort of article, or rather referenced an article, and something really bad has happened. You know, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I just know this is really far away from the US listing price. So I wait for the turnaround, and then the turnaround kicks in. We got a nice strong buy candle here. You can also see relative to volume, the volume that's kicking in. And it's like, oh, okay. Once it's sort of just before it gets to $4.50, it's like, okay, let's start buying this. And I told the guys in Discord that VWAP isn't going to hold. Like, I'm of a very strong opinion. VWAP here is not going to hold because we're still so far away from 492. Now, if you recall my other videos, it doesn't. What can happen is this white line here, right? That's the US listing price equivalent. That acts as a magnet, not a guarantee. So what can happen is it can actually wick up and then sort of eventually come back down. That's kind of what has been happening the last week or two, is that kind of price action, or sometimes it hits it perfectly and comes off. Sometimes it just, well, I think this might be the first time in a couple of weeks that it hasn't got to that price. So as it's sort of chilling, going sideways, it's like, oh, it's lost its momentum. It's time to start cutting. So taking off little bits and pieces, and then as it comes back down to VWAP, it's like, just cut. Just get rid of it. You know, made decent money on it. You know, it could be better, I think. Maybe I could have started cutting earlier. I haven't taken the time to process the actual trade, but I just want to share with you guys the trade idea. We've talked about IPX so much, and you're seeing it. You're just seeing why I trade it. I mean, who else talks about IPX? No one. It's a random fuck off stock. It just really happens to move. Like, we're talking from top to bottom on no news. Obviously, the US trading. It's at 12.5% today from top to bottom. It's fucking sensational. That is a huge move. And what else have we got? We got in the US. How much did it drop by? Yeah, I mean, that dropped only 3.5%, but from top to bottom, it dropped 10%. And plus, it's gapping down again. So we're going to see, most likely, another move down. And by the way, I totally understand why IPX would have sold that extra bit on top from the US listing. So if we go back to well, actually, we can reference this. This resistance level, like, that is a disgusting candle, right? I think we all know what happens when there's like a massive bullish engulfing. It should continue to the downside. The probability of that is, I think, quite high relative to going bullish, for example. But, you look at IPX on the US here, and it's like, oh, well, if the Australian traders and the Australian market is anticipating that IPX in the US is going to carry on, then it makes sense that it's going to sell down below the US listing equivalent, which is at this white line here. So that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the sheer morning panic. I think that is excessive. And then the rebound, mind you, through VWAP, that should alone tell you that there was a drive to get back to this price. That was, I think, quite inevitable to punch through VWAP because it was still so far away from the US listed price. So I'm really happy overall with this. Not much else happened. I mean, it started dipping, and then I didn't go back. I don't want to keep going back and forth on this, but it didn't really provide an opportunity. There was no real pivots to work with, and it kind of just slowly grinded back up. So there was no real trade after the initial entry, and then just like smaller entries, and then starting to cut, and then bigger cuts towards VWAP as it was coming off. So that's the trade in a nutshell. And I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet, but it turns out I've got a lot to fucking say. Got a lot to say. I always try to, in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be a 5-minute video. I mean, I'm covering like 2 or 3 stocks. What could I possibly talk about? But I just don't shut the fuck up. See you, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.